Primed for the final weekend of this new series, the Overdrive monster trucks hit the tacky soil north of Steel City. Away from the hustle and bustle, the farmlands of western Pennsylvania get a little taste of chaos. The biggest machines in motorsports. Nestled in the farmlands that dot the western Pennsylvania countryside, what was once referred to as part of the Steel Belt of America still is by many. We welcome you to the Butler Farm Show in Butler, Pennsylvania for Round 7 of the Overdrive Monster Truck Tour 4 of the biggest machines in motorsports, getting set to do battle in the Stunt Showdown, racing and freestyle. And you can see we've got cameras on board one of our trucks here this weekend. You're looking over the top of the Plan Hooky machine of J.R. Seasock, one of the home state heroes this weekend, alongside his brother Kyle. And there you see the Outlaws, the Overdrive Outlaws, our tough truck competitors, rolling out for introductions a little bit earlier. This is a big weekend for these guys. We have 2 shows coming at you from right here in Butler. This is show number 1, Under the Sun. We'll bring you more coverage from Butler later on, but right now we're going to get things kicked off right away because we have a ton of show to bring in with the Stunt Showdown competition. There you see Kyle Seasock, the man they call Bucket, out of Frackville, Pennsylvania, driving Aftershock, Donnie Hebert's machine, out of Ware, New Hampshire. Nice opening hit. You can hear that big 585 cubic inch power plant in the back going to work. Massive cubic inches back there for one of these trucks, and definitely plenty of horsepower, but he doesn't need all of it here this weekend. Very good biting soil. They're very proud of their soil here at the Butler Farm Show, and it is a nice surface they've got to race on. I'll have to keep an eye on these guys, though. This is a very tacky track. See if it causes any problems later. We get the score to open up our Stunt Showdown. It's a score of 16 for Kyle Seasock. Now we'll bring up the man out of Fairfax, Virginia, the Old Dominion legend with the big Brad Anderson Hemi, Cliff Fowl, opening up this run in Virginia Giant. Looking good right there. You guys usually like to get just a little bit more vertical, but it's tough here this weekend. They had to short run to come in and build this track very quickly, but not a bad job by Sean Baker and crew to very quickly turn this track around. Solid hit for Valley. Made that one look almost too easy. We'll have to see what the score is at the end of the competition here. Getting a feel for that race lane. Over here on the right-hand side of the track, again, straight line, bump and jump here at the Butler Farm Show this week. And a nice job, though, Val, looking good in his 2 moves as we wait for the score to come in for Cliff Fowl. A 17 by 1 point. He will go into the lead. Up next, hometown hero, and I believe we got an ET sighting over there off to the right-hand side of the truck. This is Plan Hooky. JR out of Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Plenty of power to work with inside that big J&B chassis. Look at that, he hooked a little bit. Got the pucker factor up on that one as he almost high-sided right there. Didn't get too close to disaster, does it again. Nice hang time off of the race lanes. Again, may want to tune those up for the second show, as I know they're looking for a little bit more vertical air, but the fans getting some strong opening statements here. All the horsepower going to work as we ride on the boom of the big tow truck from Pottsville, Pennsylvania, or the chassis out of Ware, New Hampshire, an 18 for J.R. Seasock will put him in the lead for the moment as Preston Perez rolls out in the black and green machine from Frederick, Maryland. And look at this. Right for the center mount. Gets a little bit out of shape right there. Again. Gonna have to try to hang on to it, watching for that side bite here. You can high side a truck very, very quickly, and that's become evident already. It's good that they figured that out just moving around the track, because this is a situation where if you weren't aware of that, you went into a high horsepower, high speed freestyle, you could find yourself in trouble real quickly. There's not a lot of margin for error on either side of this track as Perez lines up for some two-wheel action. Only one to do it. Nicely done there as he gets it into the stop. He started to run out of room and wisely let it come back down. You saw Dustin Parks there in the foreground. All about horsepower. On site here with the photography this weekend as we get one more look at that launch of Preston Perez. We'll wait on the score. He will take the lead and the victory with a 21. Starting off strong, he's down trackside with Austin Ashley.
You got some huge air off the ski jump. What was going through your head being the first one hitting that huge jump at the back of the track over there?
You know, I just wanted to test it out. It's more for freestyle, but hey, you know, you also got an advantage when you go last, see what everybody else does. But we're here having fun, putting on a show for you guys. You guys being here, buying our merch, supporting us. I mean, that's why we get to do what we do. So, show's just getting started. Hope there's more fun to come for you guys.
Give it up!
Should be in for quite a show as we are just getting warmed up. Up next, the Overdrive Outlaws hit the track for qualifying. Stay with us.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. Stay up to date with photos, videos, event info, and more at monstersmonthly.com. And by Crush This. For an inside look at the monster truck phenomenon, check out Crush This, a monster truck podcast.
There's only one place in the world you can find this much old school cool. Freedom Racing Monster Trucks. The home of Cyclops and Unnamed and Untamed. Get yourself a limited edition toy at freedomracingmt.com.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by RPM Army, the place to get your motorsports fix.
Welcome back to the Butler Farm Show, about 40 miles northwest of the city of Pittsburgh. You're in some beautiful farm country. We're bringing out some good old iron right now. 6 Keystone Killers alongside 2 Buckeyes, and these are the Overdrive Outlaws, the tough trucks ready to hit the track. Zachary Graybill out of Quarryville, home to one of those famous tough truck tracks in the country, especially on the East Coast. Graybill setting the pace right now. This is qualifying. These guys will go door to door in a full bracket a little bit later, all 8 of them, and this will be an interesting test of the bite of this track. We'll see how they handle it with all the bite they're getting. You talk about some trucks that are not afraid to put one on their lid to get a victory. Guarantee you we get some high sides in this one. Hopefully no rollovers, but we know the fans like to see that. 35.68 to set the pace here in qualifying for Graybill. We'll see where he ends up as our next competitor rolls to the line. Home to another, by the way, famous tough truck track. Home to the Rally of the Valley Championship, Fawn Grove, Pennsylvania. This is Corey Pappas driving this machine for the year. Another new Jeep we saw him in. He sold that yellow Jeep we saw him drive for years and years. Had a Ford Ranger last year. And now, powering down the track in this little maroon number. Chasing that 35.68 of Zachary Graybill. Let's see where the red Jeep out of Fawn Grove ends up. Lives right down the road from the fire station where Jeremiah Creasy and crew have kind of replenished some great tough truck racing there. 35-12 to put him on the pole right now in the number one spot. Here comes one of the wildest guys in this sport, Leon Hostetter out of Palmyra, Pennsylvania, and the chaotic racing machine that you can tell has been over on its top more than once. Straight up barrel rolled this thing first weekend out after the new paint job back in 2016. This truck's been in the wall, it's been over Ford, and it has been barrel rolled a couple of times that we've been present for. Leon himself has a history with the monster truck circuit, having driven a truck for about a year, and looking good here. He blistered the track, a 31-26 for the bright orange Jeep out of Palmyra. Now the only pickup in the field, David Pilichowski, pronounced like it's spelled. Flipside, Little Red Ranger out of York, Pennsylvania. Looking quick. This setup here could help him for anybody that's dealing with high siding issues on this track. He used to drive a little short wheelbase Bronco that definitely went over on its top more than once. Here, the washout that you normally get from these trucks on a looser track here may be to his advantage. Might help keep the truck on the ground. He looked good there. Not going to beat the time of Hostetter down in the 31-second bracket, but a 34-35 is a solid time right now. They'll want to speed up, though, when they get to actual side-by-side racing. Here comes Josh Johnson now, one of the quickest, and a guy we saw have a disastrous crash in 2021 out in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Literally destroyed his new Jeep for that season. Had to buy this one back from another person who bought it from him, and he's been doing well in it ever since. The Mistress, the Lancaster-based little XJ. He and Josh Funk, trailer mates. Another member of Team Green over the years as well, and looking good, a 33-65, so he was moving quick. That'll put him in second place in the blue and green Jeep out of Lancaster. Now, another bright orange machine, this one of the Buckeyes out of East Liverpool, Ohio. This is Mike Cunningham Sr. with the squiggle tread, loose nut. So far, not too much side bite. I thought we'd see a lot more two-wheel action there. A little bit on the nose. Nice wheelie, front wheelie. Truck's working good. May need to speed it up a little bit. He's getting a good feel for the course. This is a guy who likes to survive his way through the bracket. See how nice and clean this truck is. Don't take it for granted. He's not afraid to run it hard, but definitely a guy who values a good piece of racing equipment. A 36-55. Not going to be enough, obviously, to get him to the number one spot, but we'll see what the second generation of the Cunningham family has. Ben Bolt out of Carrollton, Ohio. This is Mike Cunningham Jr. with the single stack coming up through the hood of the bright green Jeep. Another Buckeye here, of course. RPM Racing family. Looking good. You can see this one floats a lot. Got a nice drop on the front end that allows him to get away with hitting the jumps like that. As you can see, it flips him forward, but the front wheels grab and pull him back down. Running some very, very smooth, wide tires. Looking good. Look at that, another 36-55, so they're consistent at the very least. As another one of the wild men, you can tell this thing's been through absolute hell. This is the young gun, Josh Funk. Got the Explorer grill on the front, and he is ready to turn it loose. Funk, take a look at the front of this Jeep, by the way. This guy had one of the most disastrous crashes a few years ago. Look at that, up on two wheels. Funk almost added some more dents to the long-running scheme of this machine that really should have been put to rest long ago, but he keeps bringing it back for more. It's got quite a few welds in it, I must say. A 37.05 for the young gun, and that high side definitely hurt him. Had to back up, drop him to the bottom of the bracket as Leon Hostetter leads the field in a really Funk would have been right in that realm with Hostetter, but that 31:26 was going to be tough to beat. Remember, though, that was just qualifying. They have to run side by side to determine a winner. You see, it's Johnson, Pilichowski, Pappas, Graybeal, Cunningham Sr. and Jr., and Funk rounding out the field. Stay with us. Monster Truck qualifying coming up when we come back to Butler. Back at the Butler Farm Show in Butler, Pennsylvania for qualifying round action here at Show 1 of 2, the 7th round of the Overdrive Monster Truck Tour. This will be the final show of the year for this series, by the way, as Aftershock Kyle Seasock, the man they call Bucket, rolls into stage to set the pace in qualifying. Nice straight shot, let it settle after the bump and got it dialed in no man's land. A 493. This is going to be a quick track. It'll be interesting to see what kind of times they start turning when we get into side-by-side racing as Cliff Fowl heads toward the starting line for his qualifying run in the Virginia Giant. Another look at Seasock. You can see he pulls the front end off the ground. Plenty of bite on this track and a lot of horsepower to work with here. And again, as I said, he may not be able to use all of it here because of how much grip there is on this track, but that was a beautiful shot for a guy who has not had much time behind the wheel. Now, Cliff Fowl, who has grown leaps and bounds over the years and brought back this awesome retro scheme on the Virginia Giant. He pulls the front end up big time. That's going to hurt him. 430. Time I think would have been a little better had it not lifted the front end off on the starting line, but he'll get that dialed in for racing as J.R. Seasock heads off now for his qualifying run. We're going to get a look at Cliff one more time here, and you can see he got out of shape when he pulled the front end up. It pulled the front end over to the right. He had to correct it and get it straightened back out now as Seasock, J.R. Seasock out of Pottsville, Pennsylvania, in the Playin' Hooky Machine. Again, we'll take a ride on the back end, looking off the top of the boom up over the lights of the big tow truck from Pottsville. Nice straight shot there. They're all kind of doing the same thing. They're playing it conservative off the start, getting over that first little roller, and then just letting it eat in no man's land. A 467. So again, I think there's more in this track. Just getting a feel for it as we go on board with it. Looking good. You can see how tight the confines really are here. There's a couple little things you have to avoid. Not want to get sideways in there, but that was a nice straight shot. Here you get a good look at how they're handling that roller. It's not a real aggressive track, so they can really turn on the horsepower here, and that should net us some really tight racing when these guys come back to run door to door here in just a little bit. But Preston Perez now in Toxic will wrap up the field. We will see where he ends up. He took a racing win, the last time we saw him out in Xenia, Ohio. This is a very, very capable driver, but you can see his ego gets the best of him occasionally. Nicely done there, handling it just like he should have. 419 to take the #1 spot in Toxic. He'll roll back into the pits, and we will start setting the bracket for Monster Truck Racing coming up in just a moment as Perez gets parked back in there. They're going to let things cool down, and when we come back in just a moment, we are going to go side by side Monster Truck Racing with these 4 challengers. You can see Toxic with that 419 leading the charge. Cliff Vowell in that realm right now, not off that pace by much, and then Playing Hooky and Aftershock rounding out the field. But keep your eye on those Seasock brothers. They will jump up and bite you if you turn your back on them. Stay with us. Round 1 of racing coming up in just a moment.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter. Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo. Gotta check it out. This week we're gonna go down memory lane.
It is time for high horsepower, high speed, door-to-door Monster Truck Racing straight line competition. We saw the qualifying bracket. Now they seed in Toxic and Aftershock. You saw them rolling to the line. Can Kyle Seasock pull off the upset? That's the first question. Can Preston Perez take a clean sweep here in Butler, Pennsylvania? That's the second question. It'll be Virginia Giant up against Playing Hooky, and we know Cliff Vowell has a measure of revenge he would like to lay down on none other than Mr. Perez. So we will see if that comes to fruition. A lot of storylines rolling into this bracket. Any way it goes, whoever takes a win here, these are 4 very fast trucks on a very tight, very short course with plenty of shutdown. Boy, Seasock gave him a run, but it will be Perez in Toxic. I'm not going to say that Perez underestimated him, but if he did, he will not make that mistake again. Kyle Seasock looking good in Aftershock, but it will be Toxic moving on to the championship race. We'll find out who he'll face in just a moment as we get another look at the run. You just saw, watch Seasock come out of the hole. He actually got the hole shot by just a little bit. So Kyle Seasock good on that light as he gets more and more experience behind the wheel of one of these trucks. As long as he's been around them, this is his first year behind the wheel of a professional monster truck now, alongside his brother, who we see here in Playing Hooky. Identity JR created a couple years back, finally coming to fruition on top of this J&B Motorsports chassis owned by Donnie Hebert out of Ware, New Hampshire. The name and identity owned by J.R. Seasock from down the road in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. That's central Pennsylvania. Move up alongside Cliff Vowell out of Northern Virginia, Fairfax, Virginia to be exact. He has taken over the namesake of the legendary Virginia Giant, originally from Winchester, Virginia, and truck that they are very familiar with in this part of the country. Let's see what he has for Seasock. Wow, who got that one? Everybody waiting on word. We're going to go on board with J.R. Seasock right now while we wait on word for who actually picked up that victory. That was an awesome battle between those two heavy hitters. Nice Chevy and Ford Classic right there. Another look at it. Cliff rolling on him a little bit right there. First to the jump from our angle. It almost looked like Seasock had a shot at it, but look at this. 200ths at the finish line. Advantage Cliff Vowell in the Virginia Giant, the Brad Anderson Hemi, carrying him on through to the championship. He will face off with the former team truck to the Virginia Giant for a short time, once both purchased by Gilbert Motorsports. And these guys, again, they've been going back and forth for a couple of weeks now. This rivalry, it's a friendly rivalry, but it's pretty fierce on the track. Cliff been bested 3 races in a row, I believe, by Preston Perez. So this is Cliff's shot to try to knock him down a notch. But Perez, already with a win out of the stunt showdown, has a shot to clean sweep this one, and he would love to walk out with not only the overall, but an undefeated overall in 3 competitions here. He was also the fast qualifier, so that's a 4th notch he can put in his belt as he comes to the line. Pair of PEI-built machines. Again, only 1 gen apart. Literally, the Giant was built right before Toxic. So these are very, very evenly matched trucks with 2 very competent drivers. Cliff moved on him, but there was a little bobble in no man's land. And look at the times of 4:08 for Perez, 4:17 for Cliff. Nothing to be ashamed of in either of those runs, but you'll see, watch Cliff when he gets into no man's land, the wheels just a little bit to the right. He had to back out of it and correct, and that's all it took for Perez to drive right around him. What a pass for those two. You get an even better look at it here. You can see that little bobble right there for Cliff is all it took.
Give it up for your winner of the racing competition, Preston Perez in Toxic! Now, Preston, we saw all those races be so close. What do you think attributes all these races being so close with these drivers?
You know, it just goes to show the talent here is second to none. Cliff, he's no slouch, especially with that big, heavy horsepower. So, you know, never lift, man. That's what I did. Cut that like good. We got the race to win.
Give it up for Preston Perez in Toxic!
We are back as the Outlaws get ready to roll out for door-to-door tough truck racing, and this should be an awesome afternoon of competition here. All 8 of them getting ready to run a single elimination bracket. Leon Hostetter and Josh Funk are going to start off our bracket. This could be the wildest race of the day right off the top in round 1. Then it's Corey Pappas and David Pilichowski. Again, solid matchups all the way through. Cunningham Sr., Mike Cunningham Sr. taking on Zachary Graybill, and Mike Cunningham Jr. against Josh Johnson. And what's interesting is we've got trailer mates on either end of this bracket. So if we have a Funk Johnson final round, it could be a teammate battle in that championship race. Right now, though, the 2 most beater-looking machines on this track, and 2 guys who are no stranger to going on their top, go at it. First race of round 1. And again, Funk up on 2 wheels, almost rolls that thing over, and that will open the door wide open for Leon Hostetter. Right there is the most important part of the track. You have to make the correct turn. If you start on the far side, you have to make this near side turn to us. Obviously, if you start on the near side, you have to take the far side turn. And Johnson still letting it hang out, trying to catch up with the Palmyra-based Orange XJ, but it's not going to happen. As I said, 2 wild men, and they both let it all hang out on that one. We're going to get another look at the run for Funk. Watch him come into this outside corner. Here it was in a much faster section of the track, too. He had room to drive it out, but got way over to his right-hand side, bringing it back down, and there goes Hostetter right on around. He's been there before, though, so certainly an empathetic competitor if you're going to high-side one. there's a guy who definitely understands that position. Now, David Pilichowski and Corey Pappas. The Ranger and the little maroon XJ out of Fawn Grove. Two guys that have faced each other many times before. Look at Pilichowski digging up the soil as he lays into the throttle of the Little Red Ranger. Pilichowski kind of back and forth across the track, trying to catch Pappas on the inside. They're together. Not enough drive off the corner, but what a race between those two. Pappas will head on in to the semifinal round as Mike Cunningham Sr. with the Mopar rolling to the line against Zachary Graybiel in Twisted Metal. A name that at this point might be more fitting for one of the Funk or Hostetter vehicles as they go door to door. Now, a little problem there for Graybiel. He got caught up in some of that loam. And Cunningham making a move right now, although he just went the wrong way around the corner. Graybiel on a free pass. I don't know if he knows it yet or not, but he has won this race already. Cunningham still racing him, but Graybiel had that thing won the second Cunningham went the wrong way. He cut inside out. You got to thread outside in, and he did not do that legally. Now Cunningham Jr. rolling right up on Josh Johnson. See if Johnson can knock out the other half of the RPM Racing team. Up against the freestyle obstacle there, you got to take advantage of having that inside lane early. Get away from your competitor, because when you have that outside, you have a longer way to go. The upside to having the outside lane the second time around is you have more drive off of the final corner. But in this case, it looks like Johnson might be able to hang in there and take the victory, and indeed he will. As long as they count this as a legal run, he will indeed go on to the semifinal round. We'll have to come right back to the starting line here in just a moment as we'll re-rack them and get these guys back into staging. The fans loving the Overdrive Outlaws. These guys are going to be making several appearances in 2024. If the Overdrive Monster Truck Tour is in your area, get tickets, see it live. It's an awesome, awesome weekend of action. As we bring our first two semifinalists to the line. Remember, single elimination bracket. You win, you move on, you lose, you go on the trailer. Josh Johnson, who is already up on the RPMs. Look at this. This should be a fantastic race. Both of them digging that loam down there, and Graybiel comes way over in front of Josh Johnson. One-handed driving styles that come down to these outside corners. I believe they touch doors there. Graybiel up in this mess over here by the wall. He's all over the place and in big trouble. Josh Johnson trying to keep it clean as he heads toward the finish line and a berth in the championship race. Who will he face? It will either be Leon Hostetter or Corey Pappas for that championship. Hostetter, we know, is going to be tough on a track like this if his machine can stay on all fours, but this is also a guy that I have seen roll a truck over and still end up in the top of a low ET race. So we'll see what he can do here side by side with Corey Pappas. Palmyra and Fawn Grove going at it here. Pappas away, trying to gain some ground on that outside lane. I believe that inside lane may be going away. It looks like they're getting hooked up in that loam and it's dragging to the outside. Hostetter making a beautiful turn there, showering down our corner cam with loam. Way out in front right now. Where's Pappas? He can make up the difference, but I don't think he's going to have the drive off the corner. No, he will not. It will be the Palmyra, Pennsylvania-based chaotic racing Jeep of Leon Hostetter going to the championship race against Josh Johnson and the Mistress out of Lancaster. So two guys we've seen face before, definitely both capable of picking up a victory here. Josh Johnson firing on all cylinders, roaring out onto the track in the little blue and green machine out of Lancaster. Again, he had a truck he was very, very proud of in 2021 that was really new to him. Finally got it ironed out, and as I said, he center punched the walls there in that tight confines of the Pennsylvania Farm Show complex. It's a place where Leon Hostetter himself has been in the wall. And Josh Funk, the same weekend, center punched the wall faster than did Josh Johnson, but somehow Josh Funk's vehicle still rolling around out here with the rest of them. So I guess Funk's frame got pulled or didn't bend or something, but it's amazing how long you can make one of these little XJs last. They're great little tough trucks as the Outlaw Tough Trucks Championship race comes to the line. Hostetter on the outside for the first turn, or on the inside, excuse me, for the first turn, and Johnson on the outside. Hostetter trying to put a big gap between himself and Johnson. He will have the left-hander and still way out on the outside. Look how far off course he got. Using it to grab a hold of a ton of speed. He's got to hang on to it. Look at the little bobble there. It's going to come down to the finish. And Hostetter hangs on for the victory. Thumbs up from both drivers. That was a good round of racing that we just saw out of the Overdrive Outlaws. Leon Hostetter picking up the victory. We're not done yet, though. You know what's coming up next. Monster Truck Freestyle. Stay with us.
The world-famous C60 Cyclops. The infamous Dodge Carryall, unnamed and untamed. Get yourself a one-of-a-kind toy of a Mudbogger turned monster truck at freedomracingnt.com.
Welcome back to the Butler Farm Show here in western Pennsylvania as Kyle Seasock rolls out in the New Hampshire-based Aftershock Seasock out of Frackville, Pennsylvania. Gonna open things up here in freestyle. Again, his first full year behind the wheel has yet to come, but he did start driving earlier this spring, and really in rookie season behind the wheel of a monster truck, taken to these fairground tracks quite well, and a guy we've definitely seen go through ranges of nerves and spatial awareness. He really seems confident now in the truck, and I think we're going to see that driving ability just go up and up and up every time he hits the track. He's looking good here at the opening freestyle. I doubt we're going to see a victorious freestyle from him, but certainly a much stronger showing than we saw his first weekend out in Dublin. See what he gets after here, letting the crowd hear the horsepower in the back of the originally Jim Kohler built chassis, the Aftershock machine, now owned by Donnie Hebert out of Ware, New Hampshire. And really solid opening statement from the gentleman out of central Pennsylvania, Frackville, Pennsylvania. Great run for Kyle Seasock. Bucket coming out to the cheers of a gracious crowd. Great crowd on hand here this afternoon, by the way. And again, just beautiful weather for a monster truck event. Kyle Seasock in Aftershock, setting the pace early on. Let's see. 18, not bad. Not bad. Again, not going to probably take the victory with this lineup we've got here, but nothing to be ashamed of in that run we just saw. Now it's Cliff Fowl with a big Hemi horsepower Virginia Giant. ready to get some hang time. And this guy has really taken this name to another level over the last few years we've been seeing him. We got our first real look at him behind the wheel of this truck in 2020, and there were those who have followed this name through the years who have been skeptical as to whether or not somebody could uphold the name the way its creator, Dale Wilson, did. Cliff, I think, has more than proven that he is the Virginian that now belongs behind the wheel of this truck. His first ever time driving a monster truck was under the care of Dale Wilson. Took him out to Virginia Motorsports Park and had him crush some cars that were still out there from a previous monster truck event that the truck was not part of, and now that truck is a regular part of that event. Powell, a little driving style of his own, likes that big air, loves these donuts. Found a slick spot over there on the edge of the dirt, getting into the grass. There's just enough of loose kind of marbles down there that you can throw it into a donut without worrying about high siding. And he's looking good right now. This is definitely going to be a takeover run for the big bullnose Ford out of the Old Dominion. Brake check in the air right there. Tip of the hat, by the way, to Forrest Gideon Bernard, the promoter here this weekend, for getting the graphics work done to get this body back out and on the circuit. Still a couple little details these guys would like to work out, I can tell you that, but absolutely gorgeous piece of equipment, especially in person. The oranges, the blues, the reds, it's just great to see this namesake now carried back into its original form on a modern monster truck. Really getting some nice hits off that far side race lane. Cliff Fowl looking good in the Virginia Giant. I believe he's going to wrap up his run right there. I think his rear steering may have gone out on him. He has had that problem before. He ran it for all it was worth. A nice showing, a solid showing, even a spectacular showing there. He had a ton of hang time on that run. Val definitely taking over the lead. I'm positive with the run you just saw there under the sun here in Western Pennsylvania. With the Outlaws looking on from the hillside, a 24 to blast into the lead. And trying to make life hard on this man, J.R. Seasock, out of Pottsville, Pennsylvania, in playing hooky. Looks like the dirt may be coming around for him. Nice big air hit from the big tow truck from right here in the Keystone State. Well, he got himself in a bind right there. I think he forgot that K-rail was right there. Didn't want to hit that. You don't want to pop a tire running the corner of one of those K-rails. Looking good, though. J.R. Seasock flying high in that Keystone Crusher called Playing Hooky. Keeping the momentum up as he gets off into that end zone area. Very wisely backing out of the throttle to get a run. It looks like at the center mound. winding it down. JRC Sock and shopmetal.com. Playing Hookie Chevy tow truck. Gentleman from right down the road loves his Pennsylvania fans. Nicely done. Coming out to the roar of the crowd. We're going to get a couple highlights on this one. Had plenty of speed, plenty of momentum, plenty of hang time. That was a great freestyle for a track like this. And again, really had probably the best momentum of the 3 runs we've seen so far. This shot was great right here as he planted the horsepower on the track. The truck soaking up everything he threw at it. A score of 23. Not going to be enough to take over, but a great run nonetheless. Now, Preston Perez out of Frederick, Maryland by way of Spokane, Washington in the black and green machine Toxic. Trying to keep himself on the straight and narrow and pick up that clean sweep. If he keeps up this kind of momentum and runs out the clock, I'd say he's got a good shot at it. Nicely done. Pick up a little slap wheelie on the short end of the track. Picked it up, let it fall back down, didn't overrun it. Carrying racing-like speed there. I think he just tapped the brakes. And it stood up on his nose. An odd bounce he took right there coming through the middle. Huge launch coming back this way. What a shot off the back of the freestyle obstacle out there on the end zone of the track. Now it looks like lining up for another 2-wheel hit on this K-Roll. Has to back up, but I don't think it's going to hurt him. Even if he stopped right now, he might be able to take over with the speed he's carrying. Didn't quite get it that time. Perez trying to find something to set him apart right now in Toxic. Got it to take a set, and Preston Perez chewing up the track here in Butler, Pennsylvania. Toxic. What a run for Perez, and I do believe he has done it. If I'm not mistaken, we hear the roar of the crowd, and the score is in. What a shot right there. That was huge hang time. Perez. Indeed, he will. 12 total points in the overall, 25-point score in freestyle. He's with Austin Ashley.
The whole competition for the day, and I have to ask, I saw you going for a lot of slap wheelies. What was your thought process behind that?
You know, just trying to do something different. It's a small track here, but you know what? It doesn't mean we can't give you guys a lot of excitement. Got some good air. Clean sweep tonight, guys. What do you think?
And because Preston swept the show, he is also your overall event championship. So, for that, Preston, I have to ask, what helps you be so consistent through all 3 disciplines in that 12,000-pound beast?
Well, you know, competition, I tell you, it always keeps you sharp. There's a lot of really, really good drivers out here. They do the best they can. You know what? Like I said earlier today, guys, you guys coming out here, buying our merch, supporting us, that's why we're able to do what we do. We could not do this without you. You guys are number 1. Hope you had a good day. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. See you guys later.
Preston Perez and Toxic!
What an awesome afternoon of competition, and this was just the warm-up as these guys laid it down for this crowd here. The Butler Farm Show here in Western Pennsylvania. Congratulations to Preston Perez on the clean sweep, but can he do it again? Show 2 will be coming your way shortly from here in Butler, Pennsylvania. We will see you then with more from the Overdrive Monster Truck Tour.